Hey there, welcome to Spice Files. I'm joined again by DFB, and today we're going to talk about some Beast Singleton. I know you've played this before, right, Dave?
I have, yeah. We play it. Actually, we play it here in Boston, not infrequently, I would say.
Sure. I think part of my motivation for wanting to sort of cover this is that Urza's Chalice is coming up, and it's sort of the secondary event that we do at that's sort of our inaugural event that we do each year, right? And it's sort of it's meant to be kind of like a brewing format for the moment, because there's not a lot of lists to look at. There's not, that was sort of the origins of it, right? Was try to get something that you just didn't you had no deck list for, right? We've kind of reached a saturation point. Normal old school decks used to sort of be that way, but now we have so many deck pictures and all this stuff. It's actually kind of hard to get away from. So that's sort of the motivation. That event's coming up. There's a lot of kind of weird cards that don't get played outside of these sort of weird sub formats that the community's created over time. And so yeah, that's kind of, I think, at least that was my motivation for wanting to talk about it. The rules that we use are on our Beast website, but they're pretty straightforward. It's just one of any card other than basic lands, and there's a banned list. I think the only other relevant pieces of information are that there is Ring of Maruf errata, and that's on there. And then also generally we did this at Chalice last year, right? But usually when we played in like a tournament type of a setting, it's more just meant to be much more casual, right? So what we had done was we had only played one game, so there's no sideboards, right? And then we'd also specifically given like a free mulligan at the beginning. Since you're only playing one game, it kind of made sense, right? So those are generally the rules that we play by out here, and I don't know, it's been pretty fun. I don't know what your experience has been with it, but it's been pretty good for us.
No, I think it's a great space to brew in. Singleton, I mean, their card evaluation just totally changes, right, for the Singleton environment. I like the Beast ban list quite a bit. I've played under many different many different like rule sets for 60 card Singleton and old school. Back in the day, kind of in the earlier days of the Skype community, like in 2016, we played a 60 card Singleton variant that banned like Library and Power. And that was good. We've experimented with porting the Brawl format over to old school, which and that usually allows almost all the fast mana. At least there's a much shorter band list.
Got it.
And Beast Singleton, I think the nice thing that it does is that the ban list is even longer than those two ways of playing, and it just it gets some of the must play cards out of your lists to open up more slots for the fringe cards, which is what you want to be playing with anyway. Yeah. And removing all the fast mana, it helps to just put everyone on a more equal footing. It lets the games kind of develop. Like a lot of it, you'll find, I think, Singleton for old school, there are a lot of like 4 and 5 and 6 mana things that you want to, more powerful cards that you want to be casting, and you want both players to get a chance to get those online. Sure. If one player just draws their Soul Ring and throws down a fat creature, that can often be the game pretty quickly. So especially if you're only playing best of one, because if the games do develop, they tend to go a little bit longer. It makes sense to kind of take out the fast mana, let games develop, open up more slots for fringe cards. So great format. I enjoyed playing it at Chalice last year. And as I mentioned, we play it locally here too. I pretty much always have a Singleton deck ready to go that can port between either the Beasts rules or Brawl.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I have yet to actually play the Brawl format, but that also seems pretty neat. I mean, it's just a slightly different dynamic, I would assume. But
yeah, I mean, Brawl, we've experimented with it. I think it has a very, very, very small but enthusiastic following.
Sure.
I mean, it's mostly Matt Moss and Cam Wall, I think, and then Andrew Oliver here.
Sure, yeah, Andrew, yeah. The only caveat you actually made me think about this is so we're gonna cover the kind of like the X and 2 or better decks from Chalice last year. There's 11 of those, and at Chalice, Sol Ring was legal, and then right after Chalice, we actually banned it. So there's kind of a mix here. I'll sort of point out like when I got the deck picture, because we kind of retroactively asked for these deck pictures. So we didn't ask for any deck pictures that weekend, and so there's some here that the picture was taken on the weekend of Chalice, and then others where they had the list on ManaStack or whatever, and then they reassembled it and gave me a picture, that sort of thing. So there's a little bit of a combination, and some of the deck pictures also were more recently, and they forgot that Sol Ring should have been back in there, but their deck was only different by that one card or whatever. So I'll just kind of point those things out. There's a few deck pictures that don't have Sol Ring in them, for example, and they most certainly did. So
will be a reasonable approximation, at least. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, most of the cards have not changed, and I don't think, honestly, I mean, we probably shouldn't have had Sol Ring legal anyway. It was in every deck, and it just sort of. There's other cards that are also in every deck, but it just sort of gives a much more unfair advantage to whoever actually draws it in the match. So it's kind of made sense to get rid of it.
Let's look at some decks, man.
Sure, sounds good. So we'll start off with Cliff Matheson. He's a beast, very enthusiastic beast. He likes himself some Singleton and limited formats and stuff. His deck is sort of. It feels like it's sort of a weird Singleton the deck, kind of. It's got some sort of interesting choices going on. He has a handful of Circle of Protections. It looks like there's blue, green, white, and then instead of playing the red and black one, he played a Greater Realm.
Greater Realm, sure. He's ready for anything, man.
Apparently.
And the Cop Artifacts. Don't forget that one.
Oh, right. Sorry, I don't want to gloss over that one. Yeah. But yeah, it looks like, what are we actually 4 colors here? 5 colors
at least. I think they're all here.
Yeah.
Green, red, blue. Yeah, that's
5
colors. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be in green for Elves of Deep Shadow, right?
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
You could, I guess, use your Elves of Deep Shadow to help cast the Abyss early. And then just get rid of your elf.
Yeah. There aren't too many creatures here, right? It's mostly just.
No, I mean he's in green for regrowth and Sylvan, I think, and then Elves of Deep Shadow. I mean, if you can't play, I mean, I granted that Sol Ring was legal, as you said, but in a world where you can't play Sol Ring, it'll help you get to the next phase.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it looks like he's kind of just on the Mirror Universe Lightning Bolt Fireball plan, something along those lines.
Sure. Stall out, maybe hang back on Ivory Tower, gain a bunch of life. He's got a lot of the bombs that you'll see. Singleton can often play out like limited.
A little, yeah.
Like a cube draft kind of, and like cards like Control Magic, Chaos Orb, Icy Manipulator, Maze of Ith. Those are just like just bombs. The Abyss is a bomb. So, I mean, what else can we mention here? That, I mean, the remove enchantments is a kind of a spicier number.
That's kind of interesting, yeah.
Can he call back his COPs if they're being targeted by removal?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've read remove enchantments like 3 times, and I'm still never quite sure exactly what it does. I always forget. Because it does like something to your things and something different to your opponent's things.
I get that one. I get that one confused with enchantment alterations. Sometimes the blue one.
Oh yeah.
Return to your hand all enchantments you both own and control. So he can bounce back.
Okay. He
can basically use it as a counterspell against removal, targeting his Abyss or his Circle of Protections.
Got it.
He can play games with the what do you call it? The Control Magic. So
yeah. I'd almost want a Sleight of Mind in here.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
No reason. Yeah. Color matters. He's got the cops. Like you could just I like that a lot.
Yeah, be kind of neat. But yeah, the deck definitely served him well that day, and yeah, it's kind of just a much more interesting take than your normal version of the deck. You have to play a lot of weirder cards. He even has a hurricane in there. I mean, he needs to be able to kill creatures, right?
Yeah, sure. No, a lot of sweepers, and in a world where people are playing kind of less tuned, clunky creature-based decks, yeah, this will win a fair number of games for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So next up, we've got this is Frederick Lundvik. He was, as you can see in the picture, he won our farthest traveled award last year at Chalice. He came from Sweden.
From Stockholm,
yeah, it was pretty awesome of him to come. So this is actually like a mono blacklist, which is pretty sweet. There's a ton of very cool cards in here, and for me, I don't know. When I think back to Magic when I was a kid, a lot of the like black cards are very iconic looking.
Oh yeah.
And this deck kind of brings all that out for me. I really enjoy looking at it. It's pretty sweet.
I love that he went X2 with like Cyclopean Mummy and Bog Imp and Ogress.
Yeah, for sure.
This is like a Bad Moon deck basically, right? But Singleton, so you're only allowed one Bad Moon. It's got a lot of cool utility cards. Pestilence can be ridiculous in a more limited feeling environment. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff in here.
Yeah, and I like that in black you actually get a fair number of flyers, which is I think pretty important actually. You compared things to limited before, and it's really important there as well, right? So that sort of ports over here. I think just having good flyers, it's good for attacking, right?
Yeah, totally. I'm just scanning for. Does he have a Royal Assassin in this deck? I'm not calling him out, but I'm like, I'm surprised. There's Paralyzed and Icy. I'm like, I kind of want Royal Assassin here, and
maybe Sorcerer's Queen.
Yeah, sure.
Something. Yeah, you're kind of hunting for those effects, but I mean, he is sort of an aggressive deck.
It's aggressive for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So I can kind of see maybe not having Royal Assassin because, like, if your opponents are on the back foot, they're not tapping their guys. Maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, maybe it just doesn't matter as much. I don't know. It's a good question.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But I love that. Usually, when you think about Singleton, like you're thinking, well, okay, I'm probably two colors, right? Because if you can only play one of the one of any given duel, one City of Brass, it makes the mana base is really bad. I was kind of ribbing Cliff for the Elves of Deep Shadow in the last deck, but it is like it's a fixer, right? If you're in green, it can help you get black, and that's kind of if you're on a 5-color pile, that can be important.
Yeah.
On the other side of the coin, monocolor decks, you might not think that there's a lot of depth in any of these colors, enough to support enough playables to really make it work. But Frederick has mono black here. He did really well with it. I actually played mono white at Chalice last year, and went 4-3.
Nice.
If you really kind of dig deep and play some creatures that don't normally see play and kind of build around them with stuff like that, Bad Moon here. You can do some damage. I mean, he went X2, which is an amazing result.
For sure.
With a pile like this, and a pile that, to your point, it looks like something you would see, on the playground or something at recess.
Yeah.
Back in '94.
That was a lot of the motivation, honestly, for choosing this type of format, because I think we were looking for something that, not only opened up brewing opportunities because we didn't have deck lists to look at and that sort of thing, but also, all the decks that, you see and play, they just remind you more of the playground decks, right?
That's right.
The kitchen table decks. It's just, you just didn't have all these cards, right? You didn't have 4 of them, you often had one, unless it was a Fallen Empires card, probably.
Right.
But,
and just seeing a sweet card that was like a chase card, like a Nightmare or a Fallen Angel, cards that people really coveted and wanted back in those days. You don't really see them in regular competitive 93, 94, but they have a chance to really put in some more cure.
Sure.
Cool.
All right. Well, next up, we've got Naveen Murray. It's another beast, actually. He's playing like a rug aggro sort of a thing. It looks like he's got a terror in here as well. That looks like his one black card, but yeah, he's pretty much.
He's 5 color actually. He's got swords and disenchant.
Oh, there's swords and disenchant. Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's playing one of every duel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Yep. This is a full 5 color aggro deck.
Yeah, I mean, you can. This is sort of my approach to the format. Is if you want to play a 5 color deck, you sort of can, but you have to be choosy about what you play. Right?
Yeah.
So you get some very powerful effects because you've gone into all the colors, but also you have to you can't play mana drain, for example, or stuff like that. So like you end up you get some powerful things, but you also have to put some others aside, and so it definitely makes you choose.
I love his choices. Also, okay, I can dip a toe in white. What do I need? Like the 2 best removal spells, right? I can dip a toe in black. What do I need? Like Terror is amazing in this format. Mind Twist is terrible. He doesn't do Mind Twist, right? It's too slow for a format for that. But Demonic Tutor, is the second copy of literally any other card in this deck.
Actually, we have Twist is banned in this. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well. Yeah, I don't even think it's necessarily totally playable, right?
Yeah, in a world with
no fast mana, like you can't really Mind Twist anyone.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
There's no big turn, 2 Mind Twist for 5 or something like that. That just doesn't exist. There's no big Mind Twist after like a draw 7 or something. So
right, exactly.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of the sort of expected things, I would say.
I mean, putting a premium on evasion, right? Like, so he's got the 4 mana 3/3 flyers, some late game utility, in cards like Master of the Hunt. I love that. Like, you need some repeatable effects on some of these creatures. And
I also like Elvish Hunter, actually.
Oh yeah, underrated. That's the one that
for
can
sure.
keep a thing tapped.
Right. No, it's is that right?
I think it keeps a creature tapped, but the creature already has to be tapped.
I was thinking it was the like the Mazavith one. I don't remember now.
I'm just gonna look it up quickly.
Sure, yeah.
For some reason,
I can't remember. There are 2 elves, and I can't remember what they are from Fallen Empires that do like 2.
I think this is the one.
Things.
Yeah, this is the one that keeps a creature tapped. It's it's a 1/1 creature for 1 and a green, and he does have Pendelhaven, so that checks out. Its activated ability is 1 green tap. Target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So it can't, unfortunately. If it would tap a creature and keep them tapped, you would see this card everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
But what it does is it keeps something tapped down. This might be a little bit underplayed in 93, 94 formats that allow Fallen Empires. Like,
yeah, maybe.
I've seen this card. I'm like, I think there's something that we can do with this, right? Like, maybe with IC Manipulator or Telekinesis or something like Smoke. Let's get weird with Elvish Hunter in our daily lives. Come on, guys. But that is definitely. I love the second copy of Grizzly Bears in Barbary Apes.
Yeah,
it's that kind of format, and
the Force of Nature is maybe aggressive, but I mean, I think he can probably pull it off, right?
And I love the fact that he gives himself a chance to pull out the channel Fireball. This is not, I mean, normally a channel deck you want to be base green and you want to be casting a bunch of like Ices and Triskelions and stuff. Right. This is not exactly that, but you can't channel Fireball someone if you don't have channel and Fireball in your deck.
That's true.
So give yourself the chance, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, very very cool deck. A lot of cool choices, and yeah, I like it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to mention that Winter Blast as well.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a cool
for
card.
sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So next up, we've got Wilma Gran, the Wilma Gran, winner of the actual old school event, the day after the Singleton event.
Mm-hmm.
He played mono red. A lot of very cool cards. There's the inclusions in this deck that you don't normally see in red aggressive decks in normal old school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play him the day of the event, but I actually played him over Skype, like before Chalice last year, and he beat the crap out of some of my other decks that I was playing, and
Sure.
this is a really cool aggressive deck. I did actually lose to Orcish Captain, which was pretty sweet. He actually Pendlehavened his Orcish Captain. And
That's
got
right.
to activate.
So it can actually afford to lose a coin flip. I love that.
Right. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cool cards. Orcish Captain's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, the story for me here are the enchantments, right? Cards like Power Surge, Mana Barbs, and Stormworld.
Mm-hmm.
They really tie this whole thing together, in my opinion.
Sure.
Power Surge and Mana Barbs, especially, like, they all play a role, right? Power Surge, again, these can be pretty long, grindy games.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of times in Singleton where you're just gonna be like, draw, go. And if you don't have a mana sink, you only have one factory
Right.
in your deck, right? If you don't have a mana sink, you just die to Power Surge. Like, you just obviously this is a mana burn environment. We play with mana burn over here in the States,
Right.
for the most part. So Power Surge just like can slam the door shut. Same with Mana Barbs. Like, you really put your, this is a world where, again, not a lot of artifact mana floating around.
Mm-hmm.
People are wanting to tap out to cast their 5-drop 4/4 flyers or whatever.
Right.
Mana Barbs is serious.
Yeah.
And Stormworld and the Rack also, again, these games devolve into top decking often.
Mm-hmm.
And in a world where people are just top decking and looking for their next must answer threat or their next magic bullet answer, punishing them for not having cards in hand is enough to really seal the deal. I love those choices.
Yeah. Mana Barbs actually surprised me just at how powerful it really was, because we obviously don't see it much in normal old school, and for the reasons that you were explaining, right? But it really is, like, I feel like it's better than Wrath, it's better than Geddon in this format, right? Because
let them keep their lands, just punish them.
And it means, like, you can keep playing spells actually, right?
Yeah, right.
Whereas you wouldn't normally be able to if you had played Geddon. So it's definitely very very powerful. I ended up playing a Mana Barbs in my deck, and I got the idea from Will because he crushed me with it like three games in a row or something like that. It was pretty powerful. So
creature choices are pretty cool too. I know Will spent a lot of time like on the last, call it like 5 or 6 slots. Like, there were a lot of just like really interesting decisions that he had to make. The Goblin Flotilla is a card that I actually never respected until Air and Steel, the Beast of the Bay, beat me down with it in the rotisserie draft that we did recently.
Oh, sure.
It has Island Walk. I mean, people play blue, especially in Singleton. Yeah.
2/2 Island Walk, and then when you attack, you have to like pay a red, or
it has like a Spitting Slug
right.
like drawback or something that probably, I mean, if it's mostly unblockable, it doesn't really come up. But that's a really cool under the radar card. It's it's a 2-power effectively unblockable creature most of the time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I also like the choice of Eternal Flame. You don't get to really play that in anything but this deck, probably, right?
Yeah, right. You have a stack of mountains. Even mono red, like a normal 93/94, you're loading up with factories and strip mines and whatever else. So Eternal Flame doesn't really do much. Yeah, here it's late game, and all you have are mountains basically. So
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, very cool deck. I like a lot of the choices, and the inclusion of Goblin Grenade obviously impacts some of the card choices, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because there's a handful of goblins. Flotilla is one, but there's also a handful of others in there. So
yep.
But yeah, very cool deck.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next up we have another Beast of the Bay, Top on Lockwood. So he's actually playing like a black-red deck. Looks like that's it. Just black and red cards.
Mm-hmm.
These decks are sometimes a little hard to look at first glance, just because it's all singletons, right?
They're way tougher to diagnose what's happening, right? I mean, the first thing you notice, man, this is a top-end deck. The first thing you notice is the evil eye, at least for me.
Sure.
And the other thing I noticed was the cheeky Bone Crank Icy Manipulator, which I believe is illegal to play under under the rules that we use. But anyway, yeah.
Let's see. I have a feeling. I don't remember what although this looks like it's on the day. Oh, I can see over here. There's a match slip. Will beat Jason Jaco.
Oh, well, yeah.
At the table next to Top. That's funny. Anyhow, recorded for all of history.
There it is.
But yeah, so there's some cool cards in here. There's a Banshee, which is actually Top had said to me that he actually really, really liked that card in his deck. I remember him saying that at one point to me.
It.
Yeah, it's definitely something you don't see in normal old school, and it has a surprisingly powerful effect. Like if you're in like a board stall sort of a scenario, right?
Powerful effect, repeatable effect too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of other good stuff. I actually really like Granite Gargoyle. It's a little, it's a little rough in this deck just because you don't have a ton of red mana, but it's still, even if you can only pump it the one time, it doesn't really matter that much, right? I mean, you're still a 3-mana 2/2 flyer, which is pretty good. So,
love to see Uncle Istvan. That's another like Playground 95 card. I remember coveting the one that my friend had.
For sure.
That's a creature just like that doesn't take combat like damage. Oh yeah, doesn't take damage from other creatures, right?
Yeah,
like,
from creatures. Yeah.
Just a 1/3. That's really funny.
Yeah.
But it's a tough creature to deal with, right? Like it blanks their best threat essentially.
Yeah, he's a pretty sweet wall, right?
Yeah.
That can also attack whenever you actually
has a power. Same kind of idea. I like the witches. He doesn't have. Probably the only one toughness creature he has is the assassin, right? I imagine.
Yeah, and Order of the Ebon Hand.
No, he's got an order. Okay, all right.
But that's that's still, not.
You're almost never going to see them in the same game necessarily. And witches again, repeatable effects in Singleton, just like in Limited, can be very, very strong. Right. cards like witches, cards like Witch Hunter. Like Time Elemental, those types of things. Royal Assassin is an example of that too, I guess.
Sure.
That just give you like spell-like effects without having to pay, without having to use another card, or even usually without even having to pay mana. Right. Are really, really good.
Yeah, for sure. Banshee was our first discussion about that.
Yeah, exactly. Repeatable effect.
I also like the Warp artifact in here.
Warp artifact and Copper Tablet, similar role.
Yeah, and actually it's kind of interesting because he's playing red, so you'd kind of expect there'd be a shatter in here, but he actually doesn't have a shatter. He just wants you to keep your artifact, and he wants to put Warp artifact on it, right?
That's top in there, right? Just too good for a shatter.
Too good for shatter.
Yeah.
I also like Dancing Scimitar. That's a pretty solid card. I'm not quite sure like which decks it fits in and which ones it doesn't, but it definitely is playable. I just don't know exactly where, like when you want to play it and when you don't want to play it. It's hard to determine, I think. But.
No, I mean it's been good for me in draft and cube, so stands to reason. It just kind of like it blocks everything, has evasion, can win the game if it needs to. It's just kind of a card that. I mean, it's not a huge threat, but it's a card that your opponent just kind of has to groan and deal with.
Eventually they have to get rid of it, or they probably can't attack you, right?
Yep.
Makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, very cool deck. And I like so far that we've seen like, I mean, everything's been different, right? We're not seeing like some repeat deck necessarily, you know.
Oh, no, yeah.
And like none of the card choices are set in stone. There's definitely certain things that you see in a lot of decks, but the one thing I will point out is there's you know, I think Mazavith was pretty highly played, but we've actually seen 2 decks so far that don't have a maze in them. This is one of them. And then also Naveen's aggro deck didn't have one either.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And it's definitely playable in those decks, you know, because you can bring back your own guy, right?
I think it'd be very good in Naveen's list. Like any deck where you have a lot of little guys, you want to be able to keep getting damage through, and you can use Maze as a feint, obviously. So Maze, like cards like Maze and Icy and Chaos Orb and Strip Mine and Factory, just pretty much. And I would say Disc probably belongs in that category, just because of the nature of you know, how the games tend to go. That's sort of like the colorless backbone to a lot of these.
A lot of decks, yeah. It's just, you know, they're also competing with a lot of colored cards, right? So you end up having to pick and choose. I think it just depends on like what your strategy is, which is nice. So, you know, I mean, it doesn't, you know, I would say probably Strip Mine and actually Top doesn't. Oh no, he does have a Factory. I just didn't see it first. There it is. So yeah, I mean, I think Strip Mine and Factory probably were in every deck. I would say likely, but
right,
yeah, and probably City of Brass.
yeah.
Actually, no, because there's the mono black.
Yeah, not in mono black or mono red. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah.
All right.
So, anyway, next up we have Jared Doucette.
Grixis list.
Grixis list here. We've got
Love the Legends.
Yeah, very cool. I definitely like Tetsuo Umezawa. That is a very sweet card. Just ultimately a better Royal Assassin, right?
Yeah, Tetsuo with the IC. Does he have he doesn't have Paralyze, which I think is the correct call. Paralyze is just it doesn't really work in the format. Unless it's like the first couple turns.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because usually
you end up with a lot of mana.
Yeah, people end up with a lot of mana, and it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Love to see Tetsuo. Love to see Solkanar. This is the kind of format where you can actually like gain life gain a fair bit of life with Solkanar.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, these are all individually very good cards.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Thin Troll, I don't know if we've seen. Did Will play with Thin Troll?
I don't think so.
Don't think so either.
That's a cool card. I mean, you only get one Sedge Troll, so
love the synergy with a disc. This is a really cool list.
Yeah. But I wonder if the banning of Sol Ring changes how many of these like 6-drops he can play. It's just a question I don't have the answer to.
Yeah, right.
Because like it combined with Mana Vault and Fellware Stone and
Sol Ring is just so good.
Yeah, so like maybe that Sol Ring gives you like the critical mass of like acceleration that you sort of need. I just don't know. I mean,
see like one of those effects in a game. When you're like whatever, 10 or 12 cards down into your deck, you're going to see one of those. So all right, cool.
Yeah, very, very cool cards. And Solkanar is probably one of my all-time favorite cards, mostly the artwork. I just like distinctly recall that as a kid.
For sure.
So, it's one of my favorite cards for sure. Very, very cool deck.
All right.
All right. So next up, we've got Matt Sperling's deck. I'm fairly certain. Oh no, this is actually this is from Chalice. This is the actual table. So I labeled.
Yeah, that looks like the table. Yeah.
Yeah. So it does have Sol Ring in it. So, So this looks like it's straight red green. All the lands are up at the top. I don't see anything.
I assume the Demonic Attorney is like a reference to himself.
It is, in fact. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty sort of low to the ground, but also has big stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty. I would say it's bigger than. It's got Trike and Shivan and Urnum. It has Pyrotechnics, which is a 5 cast. It's kind of a mix. I mean, but the smaller creatures are, have some more like obviously like sprites is just good like late game utility.
Sure.
The smallest creatures that don't have a lot of late game utility are maybe the orcs and the monkey to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
The rest can either get big or have a repeatable effect. I like the slug. I think that's a good card. Just in general. Sure. I mean, mana bars we already mentioned when we were looking at Will's deck. Similar idea here. I do like Copper Tablet a lot. If you have other burn, like Copper Tablet can just like break stalls and you'll give you some inevitability. Sure. In a format where if the board state is just gummy, like you're trying to top deck answers where those cards like that can just ping away every turn and get them dead. So
for sure,
not a ton of like spice here per se. But.
Sure, yeah. I mean the Orchestra Artillery is maybe something we haven't seen a ton of. I mean, I know Will had it in his deck,
sure.
but
yeah. And Pyrotechnics is a really good example of a card that it just doesn't see it play in 93, 94 outside of like the Living Plane combo deck. But in Singleton format, it's kind of an all-star.
Yeah, for sure. And then I was just looking at Ironclaw Orcs, and I mean I like Ironclaw Orcs, but he's got plenty of green. Like it could have just been a
bear.
A bear, yeah. But I guess it probably just doesn't really matter that much. But yeah. I mean, looks pretty straightforward. I also think this is sort of a point of contention is the wrong phrase, but like a discussion that we had amongst the beasts when we were playing this format. Like what decks do you put Tome in? Does it go in every deck? Does it not go in every deck?
I think there's a couple school, like the one school of thought is just every deck can use it. And the other school of thought is that if you really have built enough threat density, that maybe you're better off with like a Jalum Tome or nothing.
Sure.
But I think there are good arguments on both sides.
Yeah. I don't think it's solved by any means.
No.
But yeah, very cool deck. Looks pretty aggressive and is probably a ton of fun to play. All right. So next up we have Eliot Berk, another Beast of the Bay. So another black-red deck. Not too much unlike top ends, although I'm sure they have significantly different card choices. Maybe. I guess we can take a look.
Well, the Banshee's there. Right?
The Banshee is there, yeah.
And the Witches are there. Yeah, I mean there are some differences. Did top use Oubliette?
I didn't see one of those in his deck. No.
Yeah, and there are like
that's a good card.
Yeah, Oubliette's great. He also has like a rock and rock
That's
kind
true.
of flyer package here.
Yeah.
And the Rock Egg combos obviously with cards like Chain Lightning, Falling Star, Earthquake. Any other ones that I'm missing? I guess Pyrotechnics if you're really desperate, and Disc. Yeah. He's got a Disc there under the glare.
Oh,
kind of a rough deck photo. Yeah. Trying to suss out what the card is between Disc and Juggernaut. It is probably a creature.
I think it's Dancing Scimitar because I think it says it has flying.
Flying. That one word is flying. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Scimitar, sure.
Yeah.
All right. And then does he have a workshop hiding somewhere? This is really kind of tough.
I don't think he does.
What about the top one in the row with the desert? Like it's like Desert Factory something, something else.
Factory
workshop.
I think he has. I think he has a maze in there.
Okay. This is really good content, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Viewers will love it. Yeah. I didn't quite realize how grainy this photo was.
This photo, I mean, also probably taken on that battle-tested slab of wood that was the retreat centers. I mean, it was a proper table. Like, you could have like a feast for a very impressive a family of an impressive size.
That's right.
I mean, you can like, it's the kind of table that's really probably seen abuse over the decades, but you could I could just see you like slamming down your flagon of your tankard of beer or ale or mead or something.
A flagon of mead,
like a bunch of Vikings just kind of going ham.
Bunch of Vikings
on that
going
thing.
ham.
Literally eating a full pig with a apple in its mouth. That kind of table, by a roaring fire. I think there was a fireplace either in that room or the next room. Like it was a very like hunting lodgey type, but it was a substantial table. It was the kind of table that could support like a full cube draft and then some room like further down for a couple pickup games, and that's exactly what we did.
It was a huge table. That is for
I will miss that table. We'll be at a different venue.
This year. I mean, as far as this deck goes, though, I mean, I think he has he actually has Tome and Jalem Tome. I thought I'd point that out. The card next to Chaos Orb is a Jalem Tome, I'm pretty sure. So he's definitely all in on this, like, wanting to just draw cards plan, right? Which makes sense. I mean, he's definitely not, I feel like in a lot of scenarios, he's not the aggressor in the matchup, right? Because he doesn't have a ton, like you have no 1-drops, right?
Right.
And not even that many 2-drops. There's an Order and a Kumbhat Wishes, right? A few other things, but I wish you could tell what those couple lands are. But
that would really. I feel like a workshop probably unlocks the puzzle, but
there could be. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a good number of artifacts in there, so I could see that. To go along with the Soul Ring and the Mana Vault and the Thalwar Stone he's got right next to it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a good number of artifacts, check out the next list.
All right. So this is Carter's deck. He borrowed this from Dom.
Reconstruction, anyway.
Yeah, it's a reconstruction. Yeah, Dom and Carter never took a photo, and Dom's actually been playing this deck on and off since Chalice. And I will point out that Dom's reconstruction is missing the Soul Ring that he undoubtedly played in his deck, but that's okay. But most of these cards were all in the list that
Carter played. So he came in third place with this. And this is marvelous. There's a lot. I mean, because it's so like sorted so nicely. Like again, we were saying the photos for Singleton are kind of hard to diagnose. This is a pretty typical curve for Singleton. I feel like like look how loaded it is at the 4 spot.
Yeah.
This is an amazingly grindy like mana flare deck. Basically, it's like a big mana.
Yeah, big mana control kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Some stuff that we just haven't seen anywhere else.
Yeah,
despite having seen other mono red builds and other other controlling builds, and this is really, I mean, and Carter's signature card is the Knowledge Vault for sure.
Right.
Which is basically another Jam Die Tome.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I remember, at least from playing with the beasts out here, there was a lot of discussion about Aladdin's Ring being really, really powerful. This is the first time we've seen it, but it is in the third place deck, and I think here it's very fitting, right? Because you're playing.
This is the place to do it. Exactly.
Yeah, like you have gauntlets and Mana Flare, so you can pretty easily get this thing online and get it going, which makes some sense. But it is an 8 mana artifact, right? I mean, it is sort of hard to cast.
It costs like 16 mana to do 4 damage or something like that. Is that?
Well, yeah. I mean, the first time, yeah.
Does it become a better deal after that? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, right? I mean, it's virtually speaking. But
don't get me wrong, I do love Aladdin's Ring.
Yeah.
It was a card that really captured my imagination as a lad.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and I also appreciate that he has Aladdin in the deck as well.
He steals artifacts. Is that what he does? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can just keep taking them too until he dies. Like,
I mean, in a format where literally every deck has an icy manipulator in it, I think, and among other things that we mentioned earlier, that's a really good call. I mean, even a card like Steel Artifact, in a deck that uses blue, is basically basically control magic.
Yeah.
Really good card.
I will also point out there's a Nova Pentacle in this deck, and I didn't appreciate that card until we did the rotisserie draft.
Yeah, the card is gross.
And that card is crazy, actually, when you're just playing a mostly, creatureless deck. I mean, it will stop multiple creatures from attacking.
Yeah, no, it's
actually,
like it's
surprising.
It's super villain level in the right deck for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, definitely an interesting take. When you think about control decks in old school, it's usually not mono red.
Right.
So this is kind of cool to see. I mean, it depends on how you want to classify this, I guess, but it feels very, very control-y to me. And I've played against Dom as well, and it always feels like he's definitely the control deck trying to, kill you with that long game Aladdin's Ring or Triskelion or
it's great.
Or whatever. So
it's great.
But yeah.
We can't leave the list, I think, without mentioning Ring of Renewal, which is pack one, pick oneable, if you ask some people.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh, actually, there's one other thing to point out. He's playing a storage land, too.
The Dwarven Hold, is that what that is? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a great addition in this deck.
Sure.
It makes sense. And But yeah, super cool deck. So next up, we have Jeff Willard, another beast. This is actually a deck with Ring of Maroof in it. So there's actually additional cards that he has that I don't believe he actually played in his deck.
A wish board, so to speak.
Yeah, essentially, right. Which was kind of neat. The rule at the time was that that you could get anything that wasn't already in your deck with the ring, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it works the same way where you have to skip a draw and that kind of thing. But
sure.
But it was actually pretty good. I mean, I had played him. I didn't play him this day, but I'd played him before Chalice last year, and it was a pretty solid deck, I thought. Obviously, I mean, he ended up in second place, but the Ring of Maroof actually served a real functional purpose in his deck. I mean, it gave him outs to stuff that he normally wouldn't have outs to. It was pretty clever, I thought. We just assumed most people wouldn't really bother, but Jeff had a good time with it.
Looking at it, I think the wish board is the lower two rows.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah,
because above that is 60 cards, and then these are an additional 20 cards, basically.
Yeah.
So
he's got a lot of.
There's no other way for me to, unless he just played 80 card main deck.
No, I don't think he did. No, I'm pretty sure he played 60, and then he had the bottom.
Right, because you're not going to main deck all the cops or cleanse or Martyr's Cry. Man, there's some weird cards in here. I love. He's running all four of the red and white Fallen Empires lands, both the storage lands and the sack lands. He is playing a Fisher we've seen before. I think we might not have mentioned it in Carter's list, for example, but that's a really versatile bit of removal. I like Land's Edge as a win con, basically. Yeah. Especially, I mean, he does have the land tax, but even without land tax, in a late game situation, you can just kind of start throwing lands at people.
Yeah.
Is he really wishing for stuff like the Hive or Millstone?
I mean, I could kind of see it. I mean, those things aren't necessarily amazing. Depends on who you're playing. You maybe just don't want Millstone in your deck if you think a lot of people are on aggressive decks, for example.
Sure.
Or just stuff like that. Or Island Sanctuary is not good against everybody.
It's not good, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I can kind of see that there's a handful of things that are situational, right?
Yeah, 100%. But very versatile, very, very cool deck. And yeah, just a showcase for cards that we don't normally, who main decks Wall of Swords, in 93.
Yeah, Wall of Swords is sweet. It's actually
very good card.
Yeah, it's by far the best wall. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's really saying a whole lot specifically, but I mean, I don't know. Walls are a little undervalued, I think, in normal old school, and that one's definitely very, very hard to beat.
Good wall.
Yeah. I mean, very cool deck. Also, there's storage lands in this deck too. The red and the white one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Both the storage lands and the sack lands.
Yeah, and the sack lands. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Yeah. Very, very cool.
That brings us to the next. Oh, well, okay. Mike, did you just orchestrate this entire video so that we could come to your Singleton event winning list?
Obviously, yeah.
Finally,
actually,
okay.
I reconstructed this photo. I had the list stored, but I reconstructed and I left out I'm just thinking about this now. I left out the thing that Will or Wano or somebody wrote that I can't even remember who, that like made fun of me for winning my own tournament. I should have put that in the deck photo.
Right.
But I only am just remembering it now. It's in my collection of like signed cards. I kept that. Yeah.
I also like the anachronistic card from August 2019, which is a full
there you go.
7 months after.
Yeah, for sure.
After Chalice, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my goal with this actually has been to like slowly get all of the cards to be signed by like player signed ones. I want like the whole Singleton deck to be that way.
Singleton, yeah. That's the great thing about, like, I love that about Singleton, right? Where like, especially if you have a deck that you go back to time and time again, like to just start slowly, getting it signed, getting it altered, pimping it out, like. I don't know. I want to start working on that, like getting artists to sign stuff. And the deck just really becomes like your own. Like again, kind of back to Playground 95, where your deck was just your deck. It was your Magic deck. Like you kept it, kept it in a rubber band. That was like just the deck that you had. Yeah. People didn't have collections that supported brewing, whatever. And Singleton really kind of pushes you back toward that place where like, this is just my Magic deck. And that's sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can say a couple things about it. I think I played too many blue cards, so after the fact, I cut some of them. Like I cut the Flying Men and the Unstable Mutation.
Yeah, that's the first cut I would make for sure.
But it worked really well that day, and I mean the one interesting thing about the format is the restriction on mana, I think, and that's kind of the line I sort of walked. Like making sure that the only double colored card in my deck is Whirling Dervish. Yes. And everything else is just a single color.
Yeah, make it all easy to cast. And also I love the Winter Orb. Might be a little counterintuitive, but your curve is so low. Everyone else's is generally much higher. Yeah. Again, people are tapping 4 lands to cast, to cast a 5-drop or something. This Winter Orb, you can really break the symmetry on a card like that if you're low enough to the ground and you've got your 3 dorks. I like that choice a lot.
Yeah, and so when the timeline, the sequence of events was sort of that I had been playing a bunch of more mid-rangey type decks, and then I mentioned earlier that Will asked me to play some before Chalice, and it was a couple weeks before, and he just crushed me with that mono red deck, and I was like, man, I'm just underestimating a lot of these aggressive cards. I think, I think it's just part of card evaluation. It's just very different here, right? Like, how good is Goblin Balloon Brigade, right? For example, the answer to that question is a hard one because. Well,
the answer to that question is it's as good as you make it by building the rest of your deck appropriately, right? But the range of outcomes there, I think, is much bigger in Singleton than it is in normal constructed. Because if you're going to play Goblin Balloon Brigade in normal constructed, you're always going to do it in a goblin shell, right? Right. You're going to play 20 goblins, 16, 20 goblins and 4 grenades. Whereas here you have to think about what is it doing for you if you top deck it, your only balloon, if you're top decking it on turn 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
How happy are you?
Right.
And if if your pedal has been to the floor the whole time, and you're locking your opponent under Winter Orb,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that balloon is just another threat that you need to kind of keep going, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm curious to see so my kind of level 0 approach to Singleton was okay, think about cards that are good in draft and cube, and just kind of build a good example of that.
Sure.
But I think with lists like yours, with Will's, maybe even Frederick's, just
Naveen's as well.
Yeah, Naveen's is a good example, exactly. People are going to be looking at these results and saying, oh, I think there's a lot to be said for the aggressive approach, and sticking to a lower curve and having a little bit more synergy than just a bunch of 4 and 5 drop Battle Cruiser type cards. And I'm curious to see what that does to the meta, next month.
At Chalice,
if people look at results like this and say, oh well, maybe aggro is the way to go, and see people adjusting accordingly.
And I think that was sort of the just interesting discussion before last year, was that there was just sort of this thought that you can't build a real aggro deck because you just don't get all the cards, right? You can't play Force of Analine, so what are you going to do, right? Or you can't play Force of Erendibs, what are you going to do? So it sort of pushed everybody away from that, I think. And but just trying to reevaluate what cards are actually playable in that type of deck, that's really where you have to go. And I don't even think I really had all those questions answered when I built this deck. It's just it's impossible to answer those things because we don't play enough of this format. So right. Especially at the time,
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 creatures that can attack, basically. 16 with the factory, all right, and then just a ton of removal, burn, and power, restricted cards anyway.
Kind of. I actually ended up after the fact. I kind of added a few more creatures to the deck, and I cut some of the pump spells and the flying men, like I said, and he switched to something else and that sort of thing. But so there's a few more creatures in there now, I think.
Cool.
But,
Great. Well,
it was a blast to play. So
really, it was a fun event. I am really looking forward to the next iteration. It's a space that, for those of you who haven't had a chance to try Singleton 93-94, there's so much that you can do with it, and it's a fun way to kind of format that I wouldn't want to play all the time, but it does have that playground 1994 and 1995 nostalgia feel to it, and it does get you it changes your approach to card evaluations. It gets you thinking about cards that you don't normally see in the pool. It does a lot of good things for you, that I think you can also then learn and apply to regular 93-94 or even other formats. I definitely have learned a lot by playing Singleton and drafting Cube, and maybe this card deserves another look, in my competitive whatever EC or Atlantic or whatever deck. So
definitely.
Well, so, do we have anything else to do today, Mike?
We have one extra thing to do. So Magnus sent me one of these. Hopefully you can see this. One of these Scryings boosters. So we're going to open that up. I like that it's signed on the along the crease there, and it says first edition on the back, implying that there will be later editions of Scryings.
Here we go.
So here we go. I'm going to crack this open and just see. We're going to see what's inside.
All right. I'm going to have to look some of these cards up because
I'm sure a lot of us will have to, for sure. So I'm just going to go from the top to the bottom.
We should just talk about each one as we.
We certainly can. So I don't know which ones were spoiled so far off the top of my head, but we'll just go one by one. So the first one is Mind Stab Thrall.
Okay. Yep.
So pretty familiar to those of us out here, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't see a lot of play. So my step throw is 1 black for a 2/2 creature, where if it damages your opponent, you can sacrifice it to have them discard 3 cards at random.
Yep. Actually, it's just they discard 3 cards. They can pick.
Not at random, but probably it's their hand. So yeah, I tried this card in like a him like rack type deck. It's usually by the time it was connecting for damage, like they were out of cards anyway, and it was just beating down for 2. But it's a cool. Which art did he choose? I guess that's relevant.
It's the Mark Tadine art.
Yeah. Okay. I like that one.
Yeah. That is the one funny thing about
kind of coming around over the top of his head, sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with like a. I don't know what he's actually got in his hand. It's like I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not sure. It looks like a little blade or something.
Okay, sure.
It's sort of weird though, because like that's like the least frightening thing about him.
For stabbing mines. Yeah, right. Okay. All right. What do we have next?
Next we have Deadly Insect.
Okay, sure.
The Scott Kirshner art. I think that one was previewed already, but it's a very cool card. 5 mana 6/1 with Shroud. With
Shroud? No way.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it can't be the target dispels effects.
That's so good. I gotta play with that card, and
I mean, it's 5 mana, right? I mean, it is a lot of mana, but
it's pretty good.
But it is pretty good, yeah. Next up, we have Mana War. Very, very good.
Wow. There was some talk about this not being in the set because it is sort of it's sort of format defining in a way. That's a very, very good card.
It's very good, yeah. All
right, so for those of you who don't know what this is a jellyfish. It costs 2 and a blue. It's a 2/2 creature. When it enters the battlefield, return target creature to its owner's hand. This is it's a limited all-star. It's a crazy good card.
Yeah.
First printing of this is in Visions.
They've actually printed like multiple versions of this card. Even like it's still played in like limited and stuff. Now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very
good. It's so good. It's so good. Wow. Mana War is in the set. Holy
That's
smokes.
very cool.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have Jamuran Lion. This is probably one that a lot of people don't remember, but it's a fairly good card. It's a 3/1 for 3. You can pay a white and tap it, and make a creature not be able to block for the turn.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay. I mean,
well, what we were just talking about with the Elvish Hunter, like, I wish it could like actually tap a creature. This could give. I like that you can splash for it. First of all, just 2 and a white. But it could give aggressive decks with access to white, some ability to, beat through bigger threats on the other side.
Yeah, that's sort of always the trouble with the various enchantment creature removal cards in old school. They all just made it so that the creature just doesn't deal damage. So now they just have a permanent wall, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas this at least kind of makes it so that they can't block with the creature. Really, I think a good card would be like Pacifism or something like that. Like a card like that would be great in old school. I think it would fill a really good spot. Maybe not in white, but because it probably doesn't need it with swords and all. But yeah. Next up, we actually have Guerrilla Tactics. So we do actually have a burn spell in this set.
Okay, Guerrilla Tactics. This is 1 and why is this only coming up in German? Guerrilla Tactics, 1 and a red instant. Guerrilla Tactics deals 2 damage to any target. When a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard it, it deals 4 damage to any target. So this is tech against cards like, well, I guess Hymn to Tark is not in Scryings, or we don't think it will be in Scryings. But tech against Disrupting Scepter, Hypnotic Spectre, Stupor, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Wheel of Fortune, if they wheel your tactics away, you get to kill something.
Yeah, this is. I'm guessing that Incinerate's probably not in the set. Like, I probably wouldn't put it in if I were designing it. So I don't know. So I'm just kind of making assumptions. But Guerrilla Tactics is a good a good reasonable inclusion if you're not going to put in Incinerate, right? It's
yeah.
like another good red card.
It's way cooler than Incinerate.
Yeah, exactly.
Incinerate is just kind of like straightforward. Like this just has so much more play to it.
Right. Next up, we have Tar Pit Warrior. Another limited card, but 3 mana, 3/4. If you target him, then he dies.
It dies. A 3 mana, 3/4. Okay.
And as far as ratios go, he's pretty good for.
Yeah, that's a good rate. I mean,
yeah.
I wish it were if it becomes the target of just a spell. Like make them use a card.
Right. Yeah. They can't just tap him with icy or something.
Much worse. Yeah. Tap it with icy to kill it. Trike spike it to kill it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting card.
Yeah. There's a handful of those types of cards in Visions, so we might see some other ones. And Mirage had them as well. Like with that ability, there were a lot of black creatures, if I remember. My favorite one was like a 2 mana 2/1 flyer. I forget what it's called, but 2 mana 2/1 flyer, and if it was targeted, it died.
Wow.
There's like a black and a colorless or something. Very good card. But so next up we have High Tide. I think this was spoiled.
High Tide was spoiled. Yeah.
Very interesting card for sure. I mean, it has a lot of like history to it.
Hasn't made any impact at all in 93, 94. I mean, there's like a Candelabra Tide deck that just doesn't come together in either EC or Atlantic, at least from what I've seen. Be curious to know with the rest of the Scryings card pool, like who knows, maybe there are some other pieces or enablers to help put that over the top.
Yeah. Yeah, the trick is that you needed like the things that untapped your lands, right? And having only Candelabra that's kind of what you're saying, right? Like you don't have any other enabler like that.
Just need some more pieces, yeah.
Right, yeah. Next up, we have Freewind Falcon. Seems like a card up your alley a little bit. It's not a green.
Is it overcosted 1/1?
Yeah, it's a 1/1 flyer.
Oh wow!
Pro red.
Yeah. Oh, I love this card. One in a white, flying pro red, 1/1. Yeah, I'm in. I'm all the way.
Yeah,
in.
I figured.
Combos with Pendelhaven. Can't be bolted. Can't be destroyed by Falling Star. Let's party, man. This is my favorite card. This is like my favorite card in the set.
That's funny. Next up, another card that was spoiled already, but very good. Riverboa.
Another card that I am excited about playing with.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I played a lot of that card when I was a kid. Card's very good. Another good card that was spoiled already as well, if I recall, Latinam's Legacy. This will get played in just blue decks. It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I think Guillaume Soucy, Argivian, the Quebec guys, he spoiled this a while back. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, pretty cool. Next up, we have Choking Sands. I don't know if that was spoiled so far. It's a land destruction spell. Destroy target non-swamp land. If that land is a non-basic land, it deals 2 damage to that land's controller.
Oh, sorry. Wait. Latinam's Legacy, that was Kala Nord actually spoiled that. Now that I recall. Okay. But sorry. Choking Sands.
Choking Sands is a cool card. I mean, it's like
that's cool.
Yeah, it's sort of like
it's like a nice store. It's like a Thermokarst, right?
Is that right?
Well, no, Thermokarst actually you gain life. This is like actually dealing damage.
Yeah, cool. There's a newer card. Not to talk about new cards on.
I mean, I don't know any of these damn things. So
yeah, but like it was in like original Mirrodin era or something like that in like the early 2000s. There's a card called Molten Rain that just destroyed a land for a red colorless, and then it dealt 2 damage to the controller if it was a non-basic. It's basically the same card. Yeah, except you can't kill swamps with this. You can't kill
swamps. You can't kill underground seas or badlands. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a little tricky, but
there are so many good targets though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Next up, actually, we have a card that you're familiar with. Actually, it's Desolation from the Brewmaster Challenge.
Yes, from the Brewmaster Challenge. This is a funny card. Okay, so now are we into the uncommons now? I guess.
I'm guessing so. Yeah.
All right, so the Desolation, 1 black, enchantment. The beginning of each end step, each player who tapped a land for mana this turn sacrifices a land. Love it. And it has this extra kicker. Desolation deals 2 damage to each player who sacrificed a plains this way. It's like a little extra gravy white hate.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting.
It's interesting. I don't think I cracked the code in my Masters Challenge attempt.
It's a hard code to crack, right? In a lot of ways, it feels similar to like Mana Vortex, sort of. You know, It's not quite the same, but like...
Yeah, but it's similar. Yeah, or like the Equilibrium space.
Yeah, it's like playing in that same realm, I think. And but it's hard to like build around, I think, specifically. So yeah, I don't know. What to think about that. It's definitely playable.
Yeah, I'll think more about it too.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, next up we have Magma Mine. This has some pretty good flavor text.
It literally just says boom. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting card. I don't think it's great, but it's reasonable. The thing to keep in mind with this whole thing is it's not just for adding to the old school card pool. They're also going to play limited with this a little bit, right? So a lot of these cards are in there for that purpose. I would assume.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
You can't just pick playable old school cards if that's part of your goal.
That's actually a cool idea, just to make like a Scryings like cube basically, and you could like draft and redraft it. That would be a neat experience. Kind of like its own out of the box thing, and not just like a neat thing to add to the constructed environment.
Yeah. This has some cool Ron Spencer artwork too, I will say. He has some very iconic stuff. But this is a 1 mana artifact. You can pay 4, put a pressure counter on it, and then you can tap it and sack it. And then it deals a damage to any target for each pressure counter on it.
So it's a great way to spend 5 mana to deal 1 damage. What this really is in 93-94 is Power Monolith. This is an instant win with Power Monolith, right? Because you can pump it. It's not like Rocket Launcher where you have to wait a turn. Literally, you can cast it off the Monolith and just win the game with it.
And just win right there, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably the best place for it, I would imagine. Yeah. That's the only deck that really makes infinite mana on a single turn.
So you don't even need red in the deck anymore, and it's just a way better rocket launcher for Monolith.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I like it. Next up, we have a card called Miraculous Recovery from Visions. It is a 5 mana instant white card.
Okay. I'm seeing it was just reprinted in Ultimate Masters, but that's neither here nor there.
It's a reanimation spell. It's quite cool.
Return 4 in a white instant. Return target creature card from your graveyard straight to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter, +1/+1 counter. This card is pretty sweet. It's instant speed, which is so much better than like Resurrection, for example. You can just like keep your mana open under your opponent's turn, pop your deep spawn onto the battlefield, and just go ham on the next turn. I like this a lot. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think there's a lot of places that that could get used.
Also combos with Triskelion. So if you're reanimating a Trike with it, the Trike comes in with 4 +1/+1 counters, and you can Trike something for 4. You can Trike a Sarah Angel. That's freaking great. Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty
I'm
sweet.
in on this. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, now we're down to the rare. This is reasonably exciting, I think. We have Jester's Cap.
Oh. Man, this whole episode has just been like 1995 playground chase cards.
Exactly.
This thing was all the rage. This is the first like surgical extraction effect ever printed.
Yeah, I mean you just search through their deck and take cards out, right? So you don't get to look through their hand, right? But I don't know. I mean, part of the reason that this was so exciting when it was printed was you had a bunch of these control decks that had like no win conditions, basically, right?
Right.
This is like Danny Friedman's nightmare, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing these control decks with like one win condition, or
Right.
basically trying to not play
combo
factory.
deck that needs needs a specific piece to go off, or poor Danny. Yeah, my gosh.
And I definitely like that, just kind of how it works with restricted cards as well, because you can actually pick out restricted cards and then they don't have any of those things. Whereas if you're playing 4 of something, you can only take 3 cards, so they're still at least left with 1. But with the restricted cards, you actually get to
they're just gone. Yeah,
just get rid of.
You're never going to cast Time Twister. You're never going to cast like whatever key thing that you need. Yeah, that's really cool.
So I'm not totally sure where it goes exactly, but it seems like a pretty reasonable sideboard card.
The sideboard, yeah. I'll have to think about that. I mean, they won't be trading for $20 or $50 bills,
right?
Like they were back then. But
right.
But it's an iconic card, right? It was all over. It was one of the arts that was used heavily to promote the Ice Age set when it came out in '95. So the art was everywhere, and it was a true chase rare. And it's very cool to have here.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very, very sweet. Well, this is a fun pack.
Yeah, I'm more excited about Scryings than I was. I should say, even more excited about Scryings than I was before we cracked the pack.
Sure.
I'm glad that we did this sort of live. Like these were all entirely genuine reactions.
Yeah,
at least on my part. I don't even know what these cards are. It'll be cool to have like just another way to kind of put a twist on our experience. I think 93, 94, like the old school community what 93, 94 has done has created a community that has just been such a fertile ground to try some of these experiments. As long as we have old school as the anchor kind of experience, or like the glue to kind of keep the community together in a way. Yeah. Like there are so many different things that we can all try. And I'm going to be organizing a Scrying side event for the Hartford Old School Festival in March of this coming year. I know they're going to do a side event in New York in January, and they're going to be doing one up in Quebec in Canada, or a couple in Quebec I think that I know of. So it's definitely getting some traction these next several months anyway. And sure. we'll see what the future brings after that. But looking forward to brewing with some of these for sure. Yeah,
and I think there's some part of the community that's kind of been outspoken about not liking the whole Scryings thing and wanting to just keep it only the regular stuff. And I mean I get it, but I also I don't think that there's any way that this replaces normal old school. I mean
that's
not the
all.
Anchor and.
My advice to those people is probably just like, I don't know, wait 6 months and we'll be on to something else.
Perhaps, yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. It'll if this isn't your thing, that's totally fine. I mean, I think like tournament organizers will still keep up a pretty steady drumbeat of your regularly scheduled 93, 94 events. But for those of us who are like really enfranchised and have been playing 93, 94 for multiple years, like we're already messing with not only the like different variants, we're messing with Singleton variants, we're messing with Ice Age alliances, we're messing with like pre-modern and middle school. So it's all good, man. We're all just here to play with old cards and have a good time and try different things. These are all kitchen table formats at the end of the day, and this is like another very, very cool kitchen table variant that a lot of time and thought has gone into. So looking forward to seeing the rest of the set and seeing what we can do with it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me, Dave. This was fun. Got to cover a whole lot of cool decks and crack open this sweet pack. And I appreciate you joining me once again.
Looking forward to seeing you in the new year, Mike.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll see you.
Chalice is going to be great. Yep, take it easy.
Mm-hmm.